True Velocity, as you can see from the slides, we are a polymer case manufacturer. We've been in the R&D process on this for about 10 years, and we like to say we're an advanced technology company that, among other things, we produce ammunition, because we produce a lot of other things as well. Our CEO came over from the medical instruments field, third generation in the medical instruments field. So our technology is pretty sophisticated. Like I said, 10 years in the making. We never took any money from anybody. It's all privately financed. We never got any grants or anything else. Over 30 patents that we have on this, and one of the things I like on this team includes subject matter experts, retired special forces and combat veterans, and I'm all of the above, and they hire old people too. We're, at the moment, we are in production, limited production, admittedly at the moment. We've gotten everything that we want tested and ready to go. This is out of what we call one pod. And we'll talk about pods here in a little bit when we talk about the ability to do point of use manufacturing. But each one of these pods, if you put it to one caliber only, will produce 30 million rounds a year. And we're installing 6 more of them even as we speak. We will be in full production for everything by the end of this calendar year. But you can see we're doing everything that the military has and some of the things they don't have, like 6.5 Creedmoor, 300 Norma, 338 Norma, and all of it with polymer cases. All of it has been tested extensively in the various guns that are out there, everything that Big Army and SOCOM use, working hand in hand with GD on their 338 machine gun, and it's running through it like a charm. The advantages of it, 30% to 35% lighter than legacy ammunition. Works in all the weapons out there. You don't need to modify the weapons at all. You just load this stuff in it and shoot it. Reduced chamber heat, which was something that, frankly, when I first heard about it, I was amazed at. Because the old adage is, well, the brass is taking that heat out of the chamber. No, the brass is transmitting that heat into the chamber. This actually insulates the chamber. It reduces chamber heat by several orders of magnitude, thus reducing things like cook-offs. And also, you got far less heat on the bolt. Now, you're going to get heat still coming into the chamber from the barrel, obviously, but we're working on something on that too. But for chamber and the bolt, and by the way, the extraction system, it cuts way down on and extends your weapon life cycle. The accuracy is actually better than brass. I used to work for Ruag out of Switzerland, who everybody pretty much will tell you that that's the most accurate ammunition around. This is more accurate. Has to do with chamber, the nose is perfectly concentric as opposed to brass, and there are no little points inside of this like you'll get with brass, even with really good stamped brass, because this is molded and there can be no differences. Like I said, cook-off time. So what does that weight give you? If you're in an aircraft, it gives you extended range, or more payload, or more ability to put something else on that aircraft. For a soldier, it's especially a machine gunner, it's lightening his load by at least 35%, which of course we all know, those of us who've been in the military, it's not going to mean the soldier's going to have less weight to carry. He's going to put more ammo in his bag, or his company commander is going to put another piece of kit on him and undoubtedly it'll require a battery. Magnetic retrievable. It is the base of this is stainless steel, so range cleanup is sweeping it over it with a magnet. Totally recyclable. Everything that's on it is recyclable. Always get the question, is it reloadable? It can be, but you probably better stick to brass for that, frankly. The color case, we're going to, instead of putting a little bit of paint on the end of an AP that always gets worn off, we're going to make the case black. We're going to make a different color for the API. We can virtually make colors for every round that's out there, no problem at all. So it decreases Snuffy's ability to mess that up. You can see there, just a quick comparison, the same amount of rounds, 38,400 rounds. The weight of that, 3,072 pounds. In the case of the 762 polymer, 2,112 pounds. So yes, we're looking to reduce the weight on the soldier, but think of the logistics that for that ammunition to get from Lake City all the way to Bagram. How much does that 762 round cost by the time it gets to Bagram? A heck of a lot more than it's costing when it comes out of Lake City. You can bet on that. My CEO said, only half in jest. You know, if I could get the kickback on all the weight savings for here, I'd give him the ammunition. And he's probably right. Like I said, reduced weight. This didn't get a chance to put a video on because it's all too short. But we put it through things like the minigun, the Dillon minigun. Minigun will tend to cook off in about 6 to 15 seconds. This took 5 minutes to cook off. Like I said, you still got the heat coming from the barrel, but you don't have the heat coming from the chamber. Our facility and the real meat of this for those people who are looking to the future is that this is a production facility we have right now. That is what we call a pod. That's 2,600 square feet. It will produce 30 million rounds a year. It is basically, you load in the raw materials, where they go, the polymer at one end, the powder powder, primers, and so forth and so on. At the other end, you come out with loaded ammunition. This is eminently movable. That can be broken down and put into several Connex containers and put it where you want it. It takes 3 people to operate. There is virtually no waste at all, very little cleanup, sweep up the floor at the end of the day. Now think about, we're spending how many billions of dollars to send 7.62 by 54 and Kalashnikov that we're buying from former Soviet bloc countries, shipping to the United States to get it tested, then shipping it back overseas to Afghanistan so we can arm the Afghans. Why not move in a couple of these pods into Bagram, produce it on site? And you can imagine what the cost savings will be on such an item. Like I said, 30 million rounds annual capacity. Talked about all that. We're, like I said, significant reduction. If you've ever been to Lake City or any of the other big ammunition plants, you see these long lines and huge buildings for basically one caliber, where they're stamping the brass and they're going through all the process for it. This, 2,600 square feet, the average house. We can put up one of these. We can put up one of these things in about a month once it arrives on site. The only requirement on site basically is 483 phase, good water supply for cooling the injection molding machines, and some sort of humidity control if you need it. Just as another benefit for the Californians among you, we eliminate toxic waste from the heavy metals at the copper, zinc, so we're very environmentally friendly. Like I said, no transportation costs from manufacturer to use on an as-needed basis. You put a couple of these in at Southern Pines, supply Fort Bragg. Now you don't have to forecast a year in advance for your ammunition. You can call up down to the facility and say, next month I need 1 million rounds of 5.56, 5 million rounds of 7.62 by 51, and the guy delivers it in a truck. Like I said, we are producing. We have been tested all the way around. DOD, Allied. We have several allies that are looking at it. We will be manufacturing both in Conus and Oconus, and that's what I've got.